Chapter 7. Heat. In 1991, I took a break from collaborating with Junior Dan and decided to take up the solo route again on some dancehall projects. I was approached directly by Fashion Records with Gussie P as engineer and some top reggae musicians on the tracks, which I was excited about. First off, I recorded Original Length and Strength, which was basically an X-rated commentary on my sexual exploits at the age of 20. As you can imagine, the lyrics were pure bravado. The track was a fresh take on the King Jammy's classic Punani rhythm, remade by Mafia and Fluxy. It was made for Fashion, but released on their sister label, Censored. Whilst it wasn't a huge hit, it showed that I could move into slackness with ease when I wanted to. I was steadily climbing the ladder, releasing singles on Music Street, then Fashion Records, gaining knowledge and experience. Most of all, I was making good links. The music business was 70% of who you know and 30% talent. I was getting to know some big players in the game who could help me to take my career to the next level. Around 1992, I was approached by UK hip-hop DJ Tim Westwood and his producer Brian Chuck New. They wanted to launch their new label, Justice Records, as they had just got a production deal with Circa, a subsidiary of Virgin Records. They offered me a single deal, and we released the track, Them No Wicked Like Me, a hip-hop reggae fusion with a heavy bass line. In hindsight, Them No Wicked was almost a prototype for my later work in Jungle. Unfortunately, the track didn't get much budget support from Circa or mother label Virgin. And with no video, the song didn't get the backing it deserved and failed to have any impact in the charts. However, it did reach into the heart of the UK hip-hop underground and find the ears of many inner-city youths, including a young producer going by the name of M-Beat, but we'll get to him later. Even though I was signed to Westwood's Justice label, I was still able to record for Fashion, so one day I got a chance to meet and collaborate with one of the biggest names in the business. World-renowned reggae drummer Sly Dunbar, and Gussie P was the engineer. I was actually low on funds on the day of the session, but I knew I had a hit song and had no intention of turning down this opportunity, so I decided to skank the trains I was going to need to catch from Sudbury to Forest Hill to get to the studio. I remember sitting on the train, praying to God that there would be no one in the ticket office at the other end of my journey. And by the grace of God, there was no guard there when I got to Forest Hill. It was a good day. So I just walked straight through the barrier, breathing a sigh of relief. It was about 11 a.m. when our recording session started with this iconic drummer who had actually worked with Bob Marley back in the day. So it was a good look to have this giant building a rhythm for me. At that time, there was a new dance called the bogle, which was taking over the dance floors worldwide. With your fingers pointing to the sky, you moved your arm in a circular motion and leaned back and forth. The typical bogle rhythm used an Indian tabla drum, incorporating it into the reggae dancehall bounce. Buju Banton, Terra Fabulous and Caperton all made hits in the bogle style, produced by Dave Kelly, and a lot of the top rhythms were also built by Sly Dunbar. So while Sly and Robbie were legends of roots and dub, Sly was one of the pioneers in the new wave of dancehall. If anybody could build a hit around me, it was Sly Dunbar. It was the first time a big producer had made a track around my lyrics. There was no time to practice or run things by him. No sending MP3s back and forth. Sly just told me to sing, so I proceeded to deliver some of my freshest girl lyrics and sang a simple, catchy hook on the chorus. As I sang, Sly pressed some buttons on his Akai MPC sampler, bringing in the tabla and all the elements for the bogle rhythm, making it look easy. It was an intense session for me, working in such a fly-or-die way with such a bona fide legend. But I rose to the occasion, pushing myself to do my best studio performance to date. I came out of A-Class Studio with what seemed destined to be my first hit track, titled Heat. It was 1992 and a lot was happening, so some friends decided to take a working vacation to Jamaica and record a track for Robbo's Music Street label. I remember meeting Buju Banton at Penthouse Studio on Slipe Road, Kingston, while waiting for our engineer to arrive. He seemed not to know how popular he was in Europe, which was surprising. He had a portion of songs like Batty Rider, Gold Spoon, and Love Me Browning on rotation on European dance floors. He said he liked my gold sovereign ring. I told him he was going to have one on every finger when he got to Europe. That made him smile. The first time I picked up the mic in front of a Jamaican crowd was a big moment for me. It was on Stone Love Sound in Junction, St. Elizabeth, courtesy of the legendary DJ Panhead, whom I met a few months prior during his and Caperton's UK tour. He introduced me to Rory and Weepa from Stone Love, which was an experience in itself. It was a blessing to get the mic in front of an authentic Jamaican audience. I'm not going to say that I mashed up the place, but I didn't get booed. I got a reasonable response and cut while the going was good. It was an experience I will never forget. On my return to the UK, I got a call from my good friend Errol while I was at Gatwick Airport. He said my latest release from Fashion Records Heat was taking over the airwaves in the UK and was about to be a smash hit. I'd been in Jamaica on vacation for 2 weeks, getting the real yard vibe, so stepping off the plane to the news that I may have my first UK hit was pure joy. I was praying for a big tune, and now I'd got it. Heat went to the top of the charts. It was an official hit, getting airplay on radios up and down the country. I felt it was my first official hit that everyone knew, and I used to hear it everywhere, playing out of cars passing by and in barbershops, so naturally it went to the top of the charts and later became an award-winning track. I know the fact that Sly Dunbar produced the beat had a factor in the success, as he's a respected, legendary musician, and I will always be grateful for the strength he gave my career. I had to follow it up with more fire. Next up was The Wig, a hilarious commentary inspired by a true story of a night out with my then girlfriend Michelle and her best friend Trisha. We were always partying together. One night, Trisha was coming to meet us to go out to the party, and she left her wig in the cab. She said that without her wig, she couldn't come raving with us, as her hair was too messy. It was a hilarious moment that inspired a great song. Then came Champagne Body, a composition complementing the more voluptuous woman. Breeze was a follow-up to Heat, designed to cool the dance floor down. The tracks all did well on the charts and solidified my position as a force to be reckoned with in 1992. My debut album, Wickeder General, came out later that year on Fashion Records. It was predominantly girl lyrics, sprinkled with a few conscious lyrics, aiming to please both audiences because that was the climate at the time. We got the balance right. The album went down well with my fans and the wider scene. That year's Reggae Music Awards at London Hippodrome were one big celebration for me and a chance to take stock at how far I'd come. I won 3 awards in one night: Best Singer, Best Album, and Best Single, Heat. It looked like I was on top of the world, but little did I know, I had reached the invisible glass ceiling in UK reggae, and that award ceremony was to be my farewell party to the scene for the near future.